What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Paul George, or Podcast P as he's become more and well known in recent years, was booed mercilessly by his own home crowd in a 109-99 defeat at the hands of the Phoenix Suns, who got their own problems, obviously. But the Sixers saw Paul George go 5 of 18 from the floor, 3 of 9 from downtown. Only guy to really get cooking last night, Tyrese Maxey, 31 points, 10 assists. Even he didn't have his best shooting night, 11 of 25 from the floor. I take that back. Kelly Oubre Jr. had a nice night, 26 points, 9 of 18 shooting. Joel Embiid, he didn't play for whatever reason. It is what it is. Eric Gordon, goose egg. Reggie Jackson, goose egg in 8 minutes. This is Paul George got to be the worst contract in the NBA right now. $50 million a year. All you're getting on a per night basis from Paul George is 16 points on 41% shooting, 33% from downtown. Paul George already was an up and down streaky guy, even at his best. But now it's more downside and upside with him. The bad shot selection is still there. The efficiency going down further. The bad nights are piling up, and it's not even just that he's having bad nights. You're starting to see Paul George just completely miss wide open shots, man. It is. When we already saw this coming. When we saw Paul George get signed with the Sixers for $50 million a year, we already knew this was a bad contract because he was already declining as a player with the Clippers. And, Paul George has really done nothing in his own career. The best moments of Paul George's career was that 1 year with the Thunder when he was playing with Russell Westbrook, and that one postseason when he led the Clippers to the conference finals. Other than that, man, Paul George has really been, don't get me wrong, man, he's a guy that can have his nights. He's a guy that can kind of, in his prime, he could have stretches as far as, weeks where he looks amazing. But then that as he got older, that became more, he can have a couple of games where he looked great. And then it got to a point where now it's maybe like a stretch during the game where he can get it going. But with the Sixers, everything's going on with the Joel Embiid nonsense. This has just been a disastrous season for the Philadelphia 76ers. Just 14-20. Just a horrible goddamn team, man. And lately, it seems like Paul George, honestly, is more interested in doing his podcast. You know what I'm saying? His boring ass podcast. You know what I'm saying? This is not the same Paul George from years ago when he was with the Pacers. Paul George 10 years ago, 11 years ago, 12 years ago was an electrifying, exciting player. True, the Pacers weren't championship contenders, but that Paul George was a totally different player. Paul George is, of course, since that devastating injury he suffered back in 2014, of course, he became more of a jump shooter, but he still could have his moments, you know what I'm saying? But he's washed. He's washed, man. And it's sad to see the Sixers have to go through this. And when I say the Sixers, I mean fan base. Because the organization, fuck them, you know what I'm saying? They done made terrible decisions after terrible decision, you know what I'm saying? But this is the worst contract possibly. I would say this Paul George contract might be one of the top 5 worst contracts in the history of the NBA. And I don't even think that's exaggerated, man. And his contract goes out to 3 more years? It's just ridiculous. Ridiculous. No free throw attempts last night. And, you know, Paul George also is a guy who has been, I mean, he's just had a lot of nicknames over the years, man. Pandemic P. He's just a guy that don't get it done, man. But at least in the past, Paul George would get it done during the regular season, but he can't do that no more. So, you know, he went from being a guy that led the Pacers franchise to a guy that was supposed to be a sidekick to Kawhi Leonard, who himself has become a joke at this point. They're stealing money. Paul George stealing money too. Now Paul George is not even a solid number 2 anymore. You know what I'm saying? Tyrese Maxey was supposed to be the solid 2, but with Joel Embiid being the worst MVP in history, you know what I'm saying? That's Maxey's franchise right now, but Maxey's more of a chucker. So it's like, damn, Paul George right now, at this point in his career, I don't even know if he'd be a successful bench player. So, you know, it's over, man. You know, I don't even know why at this point Paul George is even playing. Just go ahead and retire and transition totally into being a podcaster. That's what everybody's into right now. You know what I'm saying? Talking the game. Because I get the sense right now that Paul George is not even enthused. Maybe I'm wrong in this. But I don't even know. I wouldn't be surprised if Paul George mentally has already retired. Like as far as his zest for the game. Like he might already be like, you know, on retirement mode in his mind. He's just playing for financial purposes. But, you know, he's part of what's wrong with the league, man. You know, guys making all this money, man, and not living up to the contractual obligations. Zion Williams is another one. By the way, I understand a calf injury takes time, but my goodness, how long has Zion Williamson been out now? 2 months? I mean, come on, man. This motherfuckers just talking, bro. Just stealing money. Didn't wonder why the ratings are there. Why aren't the game being celebrated? Man, shut your ass up, JJ Redick. Man, that's all I got to say.